Welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today I figured it was time that I show everybody my sewing table. I'm pretty settled into it. Couple things that I still want to tweak about it, but basically it is set up for my sewing. So it's time to take the camera and walk you through it so that you can see everything and how I've set it up. Going to try to get this taped without making you sick. It's so hard to walk with a camera and keep it level. But there's my chair that I can sit at and look at patterns, which my pattern book is open, and do handwork. Then these two chairs here are the two chairs that butt up to my sewing table. And there is my sewing table. And you can see there are a bunch of projects across the top of it, and actually a couple on the back of one of the chairs. There's a shirt there that I want to make, a new top for me. And later on I'll go through all these projects that are sitting here on my table. But I want to walk you around so that you can see the side. There's the top of it. You can see my pile over in the corner there of things that I've got to find a home for still. And here's the rest of my sewing table. You can see there's quite a bit of space there for people to sit. And I actually, oh, you can see Rena there. I actually have enough room to put two sewers right there. So now I'm going to bring the camera around. I want you to see where I sit. Oops. Try to back up so that you can see it. And there, in all of its glory, is my sewing table. You can see a drawer that's open. I'm going to go through all the drawers and show you what's in there. Right now, the fabric that you see to the left is the zigzag border that I'm working on for my sampler shuffle quilt. So now I'm going to put the camera on the tripod so I don't make you sick and start filming the drawers so you can see what's in all the drawers. Hopefully you can get a good view of what's going on here. Underneath here, right over on this side, there's a surge protect. When I did the video on the sewing table, I told you these were extra sticky things. And these are mega clamp surge Velcros. And it just sticks right there, and I just stick it right underneath my sewing table so that it holds all my cords semi away from me. This is what I really want to show you. This is so cool. So how he built this top to my sewing table is he took a sheet of plywood and he cut it down so that it was 4 feet deep and 6 feet wide. And he could have gone obviously up to 8, but I didn't want something quite that large, so we stopped it at 6. So then we took my sewing machine with the extension table on it, and what I said to him is I wanted this to be able to be completely flat across, so that when I was dealing with a larger piece of fabric, it just would lay out over the sewing table and support it so that I didn't have to support it, and to give me room to the left of my sewing machine to put pieces. And if you've watched any of my videos, you see I always set my blocks up over on this side. So we took this and he first measured it out. Then he measured how much space I wanted to the right of my machine, because I wanted to be able to set my pin cushion down, and we needed a plug for a hole cut for the cords. And once he had done that and gotten all those measurements, he literally took a saw and just cut out a big rectangle. So we cut out a big rectangle. Then he took a spare piece of plywood that we had, because all the building, we've got lots of plywood. And remember, we had another couple of feet that he cut off. And he braced it with they're probably 2x3s or 2x4s maybe. He used that to brace it and then just put it all together. It's screwed right here, so from underneath to here, and then it's also screwed from the top down. And there's periodic screws all the way around. And then he took it and routed it all around the edges so that I wouldn't get cut or wouldn't get splinters and catch the fabric. In this, we actually just sanded down because I kind of liked the fact that right here it's, you know, squared off and flat, and then it goes into this rounded. So I really, really like it. It is working out perfectly. I have plenty of space. I'm glad I didn't go up to the 8 feet, but based on how easy it was to build, if I ever do need more space for a bigger sewing machine or, you know, make any kind of changes, he can always come back and just build me a bigger table. So there's absolutely no problems there at all. And then what I use to support it are these IKEA cabinets. These are actually the Alex cabinets, and I have considered them for the serger, but I have to be honest with you, they work better for a sewing table than I think they would for the serger. With the serger, the cones of threads are much bigger, and these drawers are not very deep at all. So I'm going to take you and show you what I've got in each one of my drawers so that you can see how I utilize this space. I'm going to start with the top left-hand drawer, and you can see right here I have it marked as threads, and that's exactly what's in this drawer. It's just all different threads. And you can see right here are my Aurifils. I use a standard 4 colors all the time. They are the white, which is number 2024, the cream or off-white, which is 2310. This brown is perfect for tans and beiges, and this number is 2370. And then gray, which is 2600, and obviously I'm getting pretty low on the gray. In fact, I need to order it. Then in this bowl are something new that I'm trying. They're little bobinis, I think is how you pronounce it. What they are is bobbin holders. So you take them, you insert it, just squeeze it together into the end of your spool. And it says it's universal, it fits all different ones. And then you take your bobbin and just put it on the top, and they stay together so that your bobbin is always right with your thread. I thought I'd try them out and see how I like them. And they just sit in this little bowl. This bowl was actually my grandmother's. And then on this side are my thread boxes that have collections. This one's the Over the Rainbow by Adidas Sitar, and these colors are just beyond gorgeous. Hopefully you can see them nicely. They just are just beautiful colors. And I also have Pat Sloan's, which is perfect for the hometown quilt, for the hometown collection. And most of you know I'm doing the sew along for her 2016 Secret Garden, I think is what it's called. So there's that. And then I have some bobbin holders. I'm not real thrilled with these bobbin holders. I've had these forever, but those are my bobbin holders. And I am testing out some new ones, and I'll show them to you when I get to another drawer. I'm gonna close that. And then if I open the drawer all the way, and my only complaint about these drawers is they are not fully extended. And I just have another little bowl with some extra little threads in it. These are smaller spools, and actually these two I got in one of my monthly subscriptions to a quilter stash box. So those were really cool. And then I just have more different threads back here that are just not usual threads that I don't use a lot, and spare bobbins for my Bernina. So that's what's in the first drawer. This is actually clear thread. You can use this when you do applique, and it's in here because I want to test it out. I haven't done it, haven't used it, and I would like to give it a shot. So I'll shut that one. My next one is all of my Bernina feet, and that's just exactly what it is. This just sits in here. I'm a little bit of a mess. It's got a Bernina feet guide in it that tells me all the different ones, and that's really all that's in here is just my different Bernina feet so that I can easily access them. My walking foot is right here, and that's really the one I use the most. In fact, the walking foot's sitting in here because I use it so much. My next drawer down is a miscellaneous drawer, so it's not marked yet. This is just holding some different things that I don't use all the time. So like this masterpiece, it's Alex Anderson's thread. I had purchased a couple of big cones. I did one in gray and one in white to test that thread out to see how I like it compared to the Aurifil. This is an Aurifil selection that I was given at Quilters Take Manhattan that I would like to try. There is some embroidery floss on here that I'm really anxious to try and haven't had a chance. These are quilting threads that I've had for years. In fact, I probably have to throw them out. And this is just bottom line thread. A box with some extra binding clips in it. This is a piece that I'm pretty proud of. This is something that I made years and years ago, and it hangs out in here right now. And what this is it's a pattern by Meg Hawkey of Crabapple Hill. I'm trying to get it right into the camera for you so you can see it. And that's all. It's an embroiderer's envelope, and what it does is when you open it up, there are places to put all of your embroidery. So there's a little needle case here. Let's see if I can get it open for you. There's a little needle case that sits right here. A little button to keep it there. And a little heart that has a pocket in it so you can store your threads. This is a long slot for any kind of a tape measure or pen, a small pin cushion. This holds your scissors, and the little bow is to wrap around. So if I took my scissors, I would put them in like this. These are a little big for that. And then tie the loop through here. Let me see if I've got smaller ones right here. Oh, I do. So you can see if I take my scissors, I can stick them right down in there, and then I would tie that bow. And then this last one, this is just a little envelope to store your embroidery floss in. So isn't that pretty? I'm really proud of it. I think it came out really pretty, and I enjoyed doing it. So there's that piece. And then I also have, these are the bobbin holders that I want to try out. Haven't done that yet. They're cushioned in here, so I'm hoping they will hold the bobbins quieter than what the other ones do. And I've got 3 of those there. This is something that I picked up at Mackenzie Child. I just love that place, and I don't very often get to shop there. But what it is it's actually a jewelry roll, and I've got it tucked in here because I may end up using it for something other than jewelry. But isn't that cute? I just thought that was adorable. And a buttermilk basin keychain. I don't remember what that's from. These skewers are really neat. I've been told that these are great for turning corners on things, and so I'm going to give those a shot. So this seems to be a drawer where I'm testing things out more than anything. I'm gonna put this stuff back in and I will go on to the next drawer. My next drawer here is just all needles, as it says there. And that's exactly what it is. Sewing needles, safety pins, flower head pins, which are my absolute favorite. And then I do use Superior needles for my sewing machine, and I have an assortment of different ones of those. And this is where I put all of my used needles and pins so that I don't have to worry about somebody getting hurt on them. And then my bottom drawer is just all sewing notions. So these are straight pins, more straight pins, binder clips, sewing plugs, and wonder clips. And I showed you what the sewing plugs were. Sewing plugs are just small pieces of fabric that I have kept around so that when I'm sewing, if I don't have leaders and enders, I pull out one of these. This is my top right drawer, and this one is not labeled. I should probably now label it scissors, because that seems to be what's in here the most. Here, put my spare pad back. These are my scissors, basically just all my scissors. These are my pinking shears. This is a case. Oh, these are my buttonhole scissors. Whoops. Here's my buttonhole scissors and my pinking shears. A little ruler for doing hems. And then these are all just different types of scissors that I've got. Let's see what else is in here. This is my chenille cutter. I've always wanted to do that and I never have. And little embroidery scissors. These are brand new. I'm not certain why they're sitting in here. I haven't used them, obviously. This may have to be a present for the daughter. This, people laugh at me for this. This is a piece of batting that I keep hanging around because sometimes it gets dusty around my sewing machine, and obviously because I've used it. So that just sits there. This is the lid to my seam ripper. I love this seam ripper with one exception. When the lid is on, it's great. It's all closed up. This works great for picking out your threads, but this does not fit together. So my lid is always just hanging around. So I finally just threw it in the drawer because it was driving me crazy. And then more scissors, and then hand sanitizer, which I do use every once in a while to make sure that I'm not passing anything or my hands are good and sanitized. And another seam ripper. This one I wasn't thrilled with, and I use a seam ripper quite a bit, so I'm a little picky about them. And then I just have, you can see right here, just different pens, another seam ripper. This is my absolute, well, shouldn't say absolute, but one of my favorite seam rippers, and it's difficult to find them. So if anybody knows where I can get more of these, please do let me know. And then my purple thing that you use when you're sewing sometimes. Frixion pens, regular pens, a pencil, that type of stuff. My next drawer down is also not labeled. And this is my bucket of sewing plugs. This is my leaders and enders for the next quilt. I spent just a couple hours getting these all ready to go and then filled up my basket, and now I'm ready. I just leave this drawer open when I'm sewing so that I can grab them. I used to store this under my sewing table, under the clear acrylic part, but it was disrupting the view for people. They were having a difficult time seeing what I was working on, so I moved it over to here. These are a whole bunch of different purse hardware. I'm starting to get into that a little bit. And then some more sewing notions to try out. This is the clip and glide bodkin. Keep your fabric straight so that you've got a 1/4 inch seam. And this is another different type of bodkin. These are extremely long needles, which need to be put into a different drawer, which I'm going to do right now. Just slid back in here. And then tucked back in here, this is more hardware for purses and bags. You'll see why I've got so much of this hardware in just a few minutes when I show you around the back. And then remember when I did the paper piecing, I showed you this little wooden pressing stick and my little rotary cutter. That just sits right back in here. So there's that drawer. I put my needles in with my other needles, so they were all together. For some reason, I've kept a couple of wonder clips on here just because this drawer is usually open when I'm sewing, and it's nice to have a couple to just get a hold of. Next one is zippers and trims, and you can see I do have a ton of zippers. These zippers are by Annie, and they're just great. And one of the reasons why I like them so much is because the tab to sew them down is wider than a normal tab. So there's that. And then just regular zippers. These are the zipper pulls so that I can make my own, which I do quite often. And then back here, I've got tucked in here boning. Every once in a while, I do use boning in different projects. So there's that. My next drawer down is just all different Velcro elastics all different Velcro and different elastics. I've got 2-piece Velcro and then some pretty bright pink elastics. This is all just 1/4-inch elastic. This is another piece of Velcro. It just needs to be corralled a little bit better. And then wide, no roll elastic, that type of thing. These are really cool. I love these. These are Velcro strips. They're 1-wraps. I'm going to show you. And what they are, I'll take it apart, is you take your piece of Velcro, and you've got a cord. Well, here, we're going to use this. I'm going to wrap it around my scissors. So you take it and you thread it through. And then you can thread it through this. There's a little slot in them. I'll get it through. They're brand new, so they're a little stiff. And you just put it down and it's clipped. It's Velcroed. They're really, really nice, especially for getting a group of things together. So I really like those. This is actually my second package of them. But you don't have to, you can just wrap them around and clip them down. You don't have to put them through that little hole. So those are my little Velcro pieces. Whoops. Put those back. So that's my Velcro drawer. And then my bottom drawer is just hand notions. I am a big hand person. I love to do hand stuff. These are, get them out. This is a this is a fine line pen which goes away with water. This is a Dresden plate for a 14-inch Dresden plate block, and this is for doing handwork. And I do have a quilt that someday I'll show you that I did that with. This is another thing of thread. This is wool thread by Aurifil, and it's just wonderful. See all those beautiful bright colors? And I do have another one of these that just has, I do have another one, and this one just has darker colors with it. And this again is for my handwork, because I do love my handwork. And those just sit in here. These are just different types of hand needles. These are straw needles. John James is one of the brands that I like a lot. This is all just hand marking instruments, and my Thread Heaven, which I see has come undone. There. These are different marking things, a spare pair of scissors. This is a ruler, which is this is the little add a quarter ruler. This one just stays right in here for this type of work. This is a quilter's chalk to mark when you're doing handwork, to mark where you're gonna stitch, especially if you're hand quilting, which that's another thing I do enjoy doing. Whoops, not on straight. And then what's up next is these are my ultimate favorite needles. You can see I have size 7 and I also have size 9. I'm not sure where my 9s are. But these are Jenna Kimball's Foxglove Cottage. These are embroidery and wool applique needles. These are the size 7. And I also have the size 9, but for some reason it's not in here. More marking pens, beeswax, and then micron pens. These are also known as Pigma pens. And I use the .005 when I do my tracing. So that's what that is. And then just more hand stuff. A threader and some things like that. And this is, I don't know. This is more hand needles. So that's what those are. Let's see what else we got down here. I think that's it, just another, and then just another marking pen, which those should be together, not separated. So that's what's in the hand notions drawer. And I really do love to do handwork. It is one of my favorites, and I find it very, very relaxing. All right, so this is what's sitting across the back of my sewing table. And this is what's going on in my sewing room right now. So the first thing, this is my calendar. I use an Erin Condren calendar. I have used it now for, I would say 3 years probably. I do not decorate it up. I use it purely as a functional calendar. That's, I'll switch back a couple pages so you can see. I do put stickers down at the bottom, but those have to do with household stuff. The other two I use strictly for work. I do not decorate it. I use it for functionality, and that's it. So that's the first thing. This always sits in the corner of my sewing table so that I can get it. This is the cutest little, my mother made these for me. They're all nice and bright, and it's a coaster. She made me a bunch of different ones. This is a bag that has been designed by Annie, and it's called a Stash and Dash bag. And I made this up as a test a couple weeks ago. And you just open it up, and I'm using it for my binding. You can see here are my binding clips. These are my threads that I use to bind with, my thimble, scissors, and needles. And it's great because I just stick needles up there when I'm working and I have to thread or change things or in between. So that's something that I recently made. And if you want me to show you how I did it, I don't have a problem. I'd love to show you. So there's that. These are a bunch of different organizational patterns that I would like to make up. And these are all patterns by Annie. She does the nicest job with that type of a pattern. And I'm just going to move this out of the way. Then this is what's next. I am so excited about this. Of course, this is definitely the colors in my sewing room. But I got to thinking how difficult it can be sometimes to pick out fabrics because you just don't know, what you like together. Well, one of the things during the process of the studio is I was always looking at paint chips. I was always, because I was trying to decide paint colors in the studio. So I have, first, this is the one I decided on, but you can see in here, I have just a huge collection of them. And I have not only ones where they've put colors together, but I also just have ones that are the colors with the gradation of the shades. So what I got to thinking, Moda's got the Spell It With fabric going on right now. So I grabbed this card because I really liked it. I took off to a quilt shop, and when I was at the quilt shop, Moda has these fabric card swatches now so that you can see exactly what their colors of fabrics are. And I matched, and they have it for their solids and they have it for the grunges. And I know the name grunge is just terrible, but the fabric is beyond beautiful. So I matched it up, and these are the 3 colors that I ended up with. And I'm going to make my Spell It With fabric quilt out of this. And I've decided on making one that I want to share with you. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's going to look like, but I've printed off all my patterns and I'm ready to go with that. And I just thought this was a neat idea to use paint samples. Let's see what else. Oh, this is another pattern by Annie that I want to try out. This is a train case, which I think would be neat, especially considering I've got an upcoming trip to Alaska. Then a little bag that I want to use to hold things in. This is actually one that I received from Moda, and it's just a great little bag. Just love it. So there's that. And then I have down here a little bit farther, just graph paper. I do still sometimes use graph paper for designing. A little notepad that I got from Erin Condren that I just love. And then all the way down here is a little wool kit that I want to do. It's called Blitzen. Isn't that adorable? The pattern is by Front Porch Quilts, which they do some really cute things. So that's that. And then always sitting on my sewing table is at least one tripod so that I can easily hook a camera up and show you what I'm doing. I just realized that I never showed you what was on the right side of my sewing table. So here is one of those little ditty bags that hold a bunch of threads. My phone's sitting here. Usually the iPad is sitting here because I will watch YouTube or different movies. A pin cushion that I made, which I just love. And then couple of coasters that my mom made for me. Usually there's a cup of coffee and a thing of water sitting here. And then my scrap bag for my leaders or enders. You can see I've just emptied it. It was overflowing again. But that just sits right back here in the corner. So as I pull them off and clip them, I just toss them back there. I hope you enjoyed your tour today of my sewing table. I certainly am enjoying it. The next film that I'll be doing on my new sewing studio will be on my cutting station. So I'm getting really excited about being able to share that with you. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having a great day. Please, if you do like this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure that you're subscribed. Thanks so much, and I'll be talking to you again soon. Bye.